Listen close, we rise up from the ashes, digging for the truth, breaking old habits. We marching with the nesters, they laid the foundation, passed down revelation, sparked our motivation in a world of facades. We peeling back the layers, truth cuts through all the fakers, phonies in our chest, reborn from deception, eyes wide open, no room for misdirection. Every step we take, we honor the connection between past and present, forging our resurrection. Phoenix rise, reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently, we'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. We cultivate vision, planting seeds of awareness, challenge the narrative, break out of the harness, digging deep for knowledge, unearthing the hidden. Our minds are the soil where the future is written. No longer come by the scripts they prescribe. We write our own story, no one's scribe. Freedom's not a concept, it's a move and a tally. Case by case, we break the cage. Dog by dog, we shift the stage. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently, we'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. Again. Out, watch the new world breathe.
Convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is Happy Monday, fun day. Wonder how everyone is doing this morning. So we've got a lot of good stuff coming our way today. As always, I will never not bring you anything good. Hopefully, I will always deliver. And as you well know, I am trying to make my stream as entertaining and informational as possible. So hopefully you guys are getting that. Hopefully. So I wanted to start the day today with just a little topic real quick before we begin. And, you know, I see this word today because if anybody would understand, you see this word in, I used it when I was growing up, right? And a lot of people were like, why are you using just one word for labeling your streams? That's because, as you know, you guys get in here, find out what the topic is, and you can stay, you can share. But if you're here right now, I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me, and one thing only, and that's to hit the thumbs up button. It helps the algorithm. It lets everybody know that we are streaming and we are live. Now tell me, has anyone used this word? I believe everybody will say yes, but have you used this word? Anyone? Because a lot of the words that we use today, or maybe growing up younger, I mean, this word actually means something totally different than we think. It's kind of like surprise and annoyance, and, it actually can be a religious word shorted for Jesus. And so every time you say the word "geez," you might be saying something different. Words have a lot of meaning to me, but this word that I'm using today is kind of like an express surprise, kind of frustration, irritation, or disbelief. Because some of the things that I am seeing in the Idaho forensic documents, I just can't unsee it. So once you see it, geez, you won't unsee this. It's wild. A lot of people, yeah, I believe the thumbs up algorithm is broken. Well, if it's broken or not, we have a lot of replay crew that we just absolutely love. And let's welcome everyone in. And I don't know how many times I've said geez. Oh my gosh. Over the last week, we're going through these documents, and there's so much more. Good morning, Critic Rick. You got here super duper early. So glad, Becca, that you are here. Good morning, Terry. Marissa, good to see you. Hope you got my email back in support of you. That is our goal. Caleb, welcome to see you. Amazing, amazing roundtable yesterday. Absolutely wonderful. Yes, justice for all. I'll get to the house cleaning, keeping tips. Justice for All is a great website if you want a one-stop shop to all these documents. Don't forget that. Lulu Bell, good morning to you. Happy Monday. Liz, welcome in. You did a beautiful job yesterday. Amazing. Rebecca, good to see you in the nest. Come on in. Big Red, always good to have you. You have such incredible knowledge and wisdom. Let's see who else is here. Jackie, welcome in. Amanda, we missed you. Donna Rosa, good morning. And it's okay to be salty in here, Amanda. I totally get it. And if y'all want to be salty with Amanda, that is fine with me, because I'm going to get a little spicy today. Karen, welcome in. Good to see every single one of you. Haley, good to see you. The Holly Berry, good to see you. I love you, girl. I had no idea that was you. No idea. So goodness, my name change finally worked today. Finally. I'll be listening in and checking in. I have an art request that I need to get done. Will you get to arting? I'm telling you, you are one good artist. Hey, Nest fam in Phoenix. Good morning. Inked Mama. Good morning. Good morning, every single one of you. So, yeah, no way that that person did that much damage in 10 minutes. Geez, can you believe that? Gee whiz, right? Good morning, Jennifer Soul Sisters. Welcome to see ya. Nona Robin. Speaking of Nonas or Grammys or Grannies or, people in that category. If anybody here has young babies, there was a FDA food recall on baby formula. So if you've got any babies that are on formula and they are actually using that kind of baby formula, let them know, definitely. A lot of mamas don't check for these things, but a lot of grandmas do. And I think it's really important. So the market name they go by heart, and there is a voluntary recall. And let me just throw this up on the screen so you guys can take a screenshot. Maybe you can look into it a little bit later. Ask your kids, your daughters, your daughter-in-law, whoever it is, if they're using baby formula. Ask them what kind they're using, and definitely. What is going on with my screen this morning? definitely let them know that, let me do this one more time. Definitely let them know that there is a recall. And you know, this baby formula, right before the recall, because 83 infants have broken out with botulism, right before the recall, they were announcing 3 months free of this baby formula due to the SNAP and WIC benefits being dropped. So I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but definitely you might want to share it. And for some reason, it just doesn't want to share that screenshot. So let's do this. I'll put it this way. Let's see if this works. Let's see. But anyways, you can go to the FDA and it's under the recall. It's called By Heart. And yeah, they did have a giveaway 3 months free before this came out. So little sus, but if anybody is seeing that, that is the baby recall, baby food recall. There is some other items on there, not just the formula. So just so you know, you can go into that category. I even saw some Sprouts baby food, but the By Heart site, let me see if I can share that with you. Let's see if this will work. There it is. So that's the By Heart site. And here is the link. Let me see if I can grab this link real quick. Let's see if that works. There it is. So just so you know, in case, you know, I had to message my own daughter because I did have a new grandbaby in the summer. So cute. So yeah, make sure they had a 30% off sale, right? 35% off right now too. So yeah, hopefully they have pulled it from the shelves of which one is the bad stuff, the bad juju. Okay, so let's get started this morning because a lot of people had a couple of questions yesterday in regards to some of the things that we went over on the roundtable, which, by the way, I thought was just absolutely fabulous. And someone asked about Bethany Funk's car accident, which I think is a little weird that's been scrubbed from the repository. But there was some type of stop or a crash that involved Bethany Funk. She was driving and she was in the middle of the, in the middle of the crash. So there was a car in front of her, there was a car behind her, and I believe she was in the middle of those two cars and involved in a car crash that I think totaled her car allegedly. Now, I have been looking everywhere for this. It was in the Washington repository. I know I've seen some videos on this. Someone shared the actual screenshots from Washington. And now I can't seem to find anything about her car crash. So I'm going to ask every single one of you, do you remember seeing the car crash? Anyone at all? Anyone remember seeing those documents? Anyone? And if okay, there's a yes. Okay, there's a couple of people in here that said yes. Okay. And if I'm having audio issues, I know I keep coming in and out. If I need to refresh, just let me know. No, you don't remember. I went to Washington last night on their website, and let me see, hold on a minute. I know there was a video out there. There was a video. I went to even the Washington repository on the Odyssey portal. Excuse my language. And there seems to be nothing now. And I remember there was a case pending with Brian Kohberger in there, not with her attached to it, but with just her. And so I started digging everywhere to try to find this accident, this car accident in Washington, and nothing has popped up. So I went obviously to Reddit, I went to so many other places. I went to the Wayback Machine. So, Amanda, if you're listening, there is a challenge for you to help me find the Bethany car accident. I believe it was in Washington. I don't know. She was the middle car. I remember she was the middle car. Now, mind you, I have got like tons of screenshots way back when, and I've got about five different little memory SD cards that I'll have to go through, but I will find it, believe me. I will find it because I remember seeing it with my own two eyes. And let me see if I can find, let me see, Bethany Funk. I don't think anybody put it under that, but just to be on the safe side. So for the person who asked me that, I will find it because I have seen it. I saw it in the repository. I will find that document. And I know there were some other people that did have videos. So Lana has it. Okay, let me look at Lana real quick. Bethany. All right. Dylan and Bethany. Bethany. Last interview. Bethany Funk, MPD. I know that she had some accident. I don't know if she, like somebody said in here, there was a DUI, but just I want to put my banner up as a legal disclaimer, guys. Remember that we are not here to slander anyone. We're looking at documents that are public. And if Lana has it, great, we'll find it and I will bring it back to you. Always bring you the receipts. So, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about the video that I did the other day. And I don't know if anybody saw this video. You know, I thought it was very interesting in the documents and thought I would share. And one thing that I noticed is a lot of people don't like what we're sharing and what we're finding. And I do things for a reason. I give you the document at the end of my video. I share with you exactly what I find, but I'm not going to always tell you what's in the document. I'll share just a portion of it, but it's important to listen and research for yourself. That's what, you know, we have the right. We, the people, can go out and search, right? And here is the video that has sparked a little bit of controversy. One of the most recent finds in the forensic documents is there was a table in Xana's room that allegedly, per the reports, had possibly an imprint of someone's foot. And it was either in red stuff, it was on a metal leg of the table, and here is the report in the document. I will tell you, the expert that looked at these prints wanted Kohberger's footprint to possibly eliminate him from the print. But I wonder, since they never fully tested the print, whose print this could have been. So this means that either it's Xana's print or the perpetrator was not wearing shoes and left a possible footprint on the metal leg. Can't make this up, folks. I really wish they would have investigated this print. There's no telling who it could have been, but I think maybe this person had some type of slippers on, slip-on shoes, something to that effect. And obviously this is all speculation, but I'm looking at these forensic documents and I'm wondering why they didn't test any further. I believe the Idaho 4 deserves justice. If this was my daughter, I would be fighting till I couldn't even talk anymore. After reading these documents, there is so much they overlooked. I couldn't imagine. I just couldn't. Here's the document. You know the drill. I can go to the YT and share this too. I will scream it from the rooftops. These kids deserve justice. And Brian Kohberger deserves justice also. If you didn't hear my cake. Oh, I don't know what happened. Did my internet cut out? Hold on a minute. Nope. Don't know what happened, but theory on PCA, STR, and how they developed that, you may want to go watch my live last night. That was powerful. It's just a simple analogy on how they come up with the DNA. Should have never been used in this case, in my humble opinion, but I'm no expert. What do I know? But IgG probably shouldn't have been used in this case. So you know the drill. Be well. Okay, so there's the document. I'm going to bring the document up to you so that you can look at it better. And real quick, for those of you who are listening at work, thank you. In your car, thank you. If you are in an office, a doctor's office, or an appointment and you can't hear well enough, there should be a little button on your side of your screen that you can hit on YouTube for CC. Hopefully you can see it. Now, thank you so much to the individual, and I know I saw it come across here. I think it was Christine with the deets, man. She even gave me the case number. Here it is, Whitman District Court, October 7th, 2023. I know I saw a case number down there. Up here it is. Let me just grab and snag that. So case number 2A060. Let me see if I can find it real quick on the search in the repository. Let me look. Hold on one second. 2AO. Let me go back to another search criteria. Case number. Let's choose this one. Hearing, all types, superior types. Search by date. Let's do this. Was it Superior Court, Whitman? I know you said Whitman County. Let me just look. Whitman. It had to have been criminal. Do search. Case name, case number. Okay, 2A0604814. Let me see if I can bring that up. And it had to have been October the 23rd, you said. Let me do just a search real quick on this. Let me do that. November 10th, 2025. 2A. Here we go. Let's see if it pulls anything up. Oh, we'll do a partial live dig real quick. No. 2A060. One or more fields. Let me see this case number. It was a criminal. Let me just do all types. See if that'll work. 2023. One or more fields. Whitman. It's not even letting me pull it up under a case search. Let me copy this and do it again. All right. I wonder if they scrubbed it from the repository, and that is too possible. I mean, sometimes they do, but let me look. Worried more about their GoFundMe accounts than their friends. Yeah, I would agree. Absolutely. Any update on that GoFundMe? Is it still going? Has anybody checked? Let me see. All right. Well, I will come back. I will look for this document. Thank you, Christine, for giving me that information. I will make sure that I have that. Let me just send myself a really quick note, and then I will go and research. I do not know why it's not pulling up in the repository. So that's the case number. Whitman County. All right. And you know, sometimes some of these get scrubbed. The prosecutor or the district attorney will be nice enough to scrub it in case she's looking for a job or she has some good reason. But let's do this. Let's go over this case forensics report real quick. And let me bring it up on my side so that I can see it really well. And let's get into it because I made the video, and when I made the video, I left a little bit of information out for a reason. There is a host of questions that I had myself about this document. Now, when you look at, it says the value, the latent print L35.2. That is the number they gave it inside the ISP forensic documents. Okay. This is when they filled all the paperwork out and they said, hey, I need a latent print. This was done, okay, on January 10th, 2023. And the Haley Youngling was the lab person that did this. And the pattern source, okay, is a foot, a Templar. And if you know anything about, there was a forensic class on Templars, and especially feet. And I did a little bit of research in this. I thought it was pretty interesting that, I mean, they go and you go through this whole class and they actually take your shoe off. This is a barefoot, guys. Or it could be possibly a boot print, right? But when you start looking at the feet part in forensics, it kind of gets really interesting. Whether they had a boot cover on or something, it looked to me by this document that they were looking for somebody, their foot, a bare foot. And why do I say that? And this is just in my humble opinion. They were looking for a bare foot, okay? Because the way you read this document, you look at it and you're like, huh? I mean, I did the same thing. It took me a couple of times to read through this document and finally get the bigger picture. So they bagged, if you guys remember, they bagged Xana's right foot, okay? And what they did is that they took this print that they found on metal, and the print was on the metal leg of table. They didn't specify where this table was, but I'm assuming it had to have been in her room, okay? And this, you know, it said it was low resolution, matrix smears, surface drips, smears. And why is all this important? That's a lot of things that people were asking. Why is it important? Well, it was asked for on 1/10/2023. And initially they thought it was a palm print, guys, from the hand, right? And then when they started looking at the metal table a little bit, you know, broader, they brought in the expert and said, we need to test this. Okay. And obviously the print was found on metal, so it was going to be like, I want to say like a bond, right? When you have some type of, let's say, red stuff, blood, and then you touch metal, it's going to adhere to it. And then it looks like the metal of the leg of the table expose this print. So obviously they did a digital image, and that's what it says on the document itself. It says you know, basically took a digital image and they preserved it. It was photographed. It wasn't lifted with tape or powder. Okay? They just took a picture and they knew what it was. So the examiner in this main body of this document says basically the print shape, the ridge pattern, and the quality, and they decided that it had to have come from either a hand palm or a foot, the plantar. And so the latent could be foot based on the ridge flow, that the area curving back from, basically if you look at this foot, the area curving back up could be a palm print loop, but starting to be over the plantar ridge flow looked more like a foot. So it was kind of unclear because it was a little smeared, and they note that in the document. Okay? And so they made it difficult to tell if it was from a palm or a foot. So the examiner compared it to other exemplars known as prints. We all have them on our hands and our feet. And they took it from Kernoodle's right foot and palm. So there was some correspondence, some similar ridge patterns with Kernoodle's foot, her sole of her foot. But it wasn't a perfect match. Now, this is where it becomes a little kludgy, in my humble opinion, because allegedly, obviously Ethan was known and said to be on the bed. And a lot of people were basically saying that, it was Ethan's. Okay, don't you think they would have tested this against Ethan, since they had Ethan's body at the same time and they had already took prints that we saw in evidence, right? Christine, yeah, if you can send that over to me, that would be fabulous. It's Phoenix Investigates at proton.me. If you can send that over, I can throw it up on the screen and we can put that one to rest. So basically, the expert says it looks more like a foot. I'm sure that it's a foot. And it's pretty cool because there are plenty of, interesting things out there on the internet that you can go look. They actually teach these classes. Obviously, it's a part of the experts, but they actually do, footwear analysis. They do, forensics. They take fake footprints. There was even one, they were doing their own footprints so they could tell whose was whose. It's all in regards to the crime scene. But so now, not only do you have a latent print of a possible van shoe outside of Dylan's room, now you have this infamous footprint of a bare foot on a metal label table in blood. Okay, now get this. So the examiner notes low quality, latent could be a foot based on the ridge flow area curving back to the palm loop starting at the plantar ridge flow. Comparing it to Kernoodle plantar exemplar as well as palm, some correspondence to LP Kernoodle creases and knowns are not represent on latent. After further consideration, more support for being a foot, as there is no creasing in latent and the flow of straight ridges. So then they said it could not be due to the matrix of blood. It wasn't her right foot. There were very clear dissimilarities, and that's what the examiner put down there. So then she goes, I need foot exemplars from Kohberger to rule him out. Okay? Now get this. Now, as I just explained to you, they knew it wasn't Xana's. I'm sure that they were going to look at other people. But the first thing they asked for was Kohberger's. They wanted Kohberger's footprints. Okay? So they basically say, hey, we need Kohberger's foot exemplars. And guess what happens next? Nothing. Absolutely freaking nothing. And they verified this on 4/14/2023. This testing was requested 3 months prior. And basically, it said very limited, reliable level 2 details, heavy matrix distorted, high complexity, delta present. This is the notes. And they say interdigital of palm, possible delta, definitely, possibly a foot. They were leaning more to a foot. They need foot exemplars, and then it says included cornodal, correspondence through the right side of the latent print, some correspondence around the delta, but it could not connect areas of correspondence due to voids and distortion in the known where the center area of the latent would be, and given a delta on the X, and this is all technical professional jargon, right? And I'm thinking to myself, given, and she puts, given the level of matrix distortion present in the latent and distortions to be known, a better recorded exemplar would assist in comparison. Okay, that was page 1. So when you look at this, and I'm going through this whole document looking for the rest of, if did they test anybody else's feet? It was low quality, but she agrees it had to been because the cause by the way the blood, the smearing, the surface, the curvature on the metal. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if it was a smudged print found on the metal leg of a table, they thought at first it was, the hand, but it's not. They narrowed it down to the foot, and then they just stop investigating. They just stop. So what tells me is they have a footprint of someone that is not Xana. They wanted Kohberger's, never tested him, because I've looked at these documents. If somebody can find me where they found a foot Templar from Kohberger, I've searched everywhere. They never finished this process. And I have a feeling, in my humble opinion, they knew it wasn't his, allegedly, and they didn't test it because they didn't want to know whose it was. Now, what do you think of this? I almost thought it was a conspiracy when I saw BK look alike on TikTok. I was thinking the same thing. Oh my God, yesterday when I showed you the doppelganger. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Interview Room is catching on to the narrative and aware something's going to happen legally, and the evidence of BK is non-existent. Well, you know what? We have been shouting from the rooftops ever since February, when I started going live a lot more with Birdie, and we started talking about all these documents that were coming out. It didn't make sense. Nothing made sense. They didn't have any connection. Then when he took the plea deal, I think a lot of us had the, instinct, the gut instinct that something doesn't sound right in this case. And I would check it against Emily and Hunter myself. I get suspicious vibes from them and their behavior. Their stories don't match up, just like, in my humble opinion, Dylan and Bethany. Their stories do not align. And when you have a friend in the mix that you live with that's studying and graduated as a criminologist and a sociologist, I really think something is up. Something's up. I'm having it's all of a kind of psyop day. Well, I think they already knew. The investigation was taking them all the way into Boise, and I think they stumbled upon, or they caught whoever they wanted to catch, and was like, this ain't gonna work. We've got to have a fall guy. And I don't know. I have not found any proof. I have not found any proof to date that someone perhaps knew Josie. I mean, is it possible that Josie could have took a class with BK or was in one of his classes or seminar or a weekend type of class that they were talking about? I mean, something's up with the foot, definitely. You guys are funny. And that's why I can't trust y'all more than those so-called experts. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I had a good night's sleep last night, and I woke up this morning. I was a cleaning fool, and I almost missed my own live. I was so busy cleaning. Why does somebody have, speaking of feet, why does somebody have 50 pairs of socks and only wears like two or three? Right? I mean, I had to just get rid of all my mismatched socks. I had to get rid of just I must just be in a purge kind of mood just to get rid of stuff. But I was like, why do I have 50 pairs and they're all brand new? And I'm like, I don't need this many. I could just donate them to the Goodwill and somebody can have brand new socks. I mean, I had a whole bag of socks never even worn. I'm like, why did I buy these? I don't even wear this type of sock. So, anyways, it must have been a good deal. But as I looked this document more and more, and I kept saying, well, whose footprint and why would it be on Xana's? I'm assuming obviously this was in the room because that's where Xana was, in Xana's room on a metal table. I wear them even mismatched. So does my daughter. I got rid of yeah, that's next on my list. My closet is next. I do 2 times a year, spring and fall. I think because I'm bringing out all my fall clothes and putting summer clothes away. I've got 50 pairs. Don't investigate me. Oh my gosh, you guys are hilarious. Did anyone find anything about Brian's emails that made me scared about his POL? No, no, I didn't find anything. It, did he even have email? I know he had some email that they did warrants for, but I mean, again, ISP, MPD, they couldn't tie him to anything. Anything. So, yeah, interview room can stuff it. Okay, let's be nice, Caleb. Oh, what makes McDonald change his mind? Yeah, probably decide with the side of you're innocent until proven guilty. They were in it for the views. Look at, they all were like, oh, he's guilty. He's a POS. We're calling him by number. And you know what shocks me is the rating and the views that they get. Well, we're over here screaming, let's tell the truth. This doesn't make sense. He's innocent, innocent until proven guilty. And we're over here with, you know, a little bit of support. And I would rather have a little support than a lot of bad support. I'm telling you guys, 100%. I would rather have a small, limited number, all of us knowing that he's factually innocent, and then having large of content, that people are like, why were they saying he was guilty when this guy's actually innocent? Save your old socks for cleaning and gardening. Got it. Critic Rick, you need to stock up on underwear. Lots of panties, right? Oh, God, let's not go there. Oh, yeah, proof of life. Yeah, his emails are gone. And I don't know. Okay, so I understand that JPay is not the way to talk to him, and it's gettingout.com is the way that you talk to him. But I thought JPay was for those who are incarcerated a long, long time, and getting out is for those who are getting out. So I'm confused. So I did look at both of them last night. I can't still buy him a tablet. You still can't email him. Cat's Girl says, I used to be a shopaholic and kept stuff forever. Now I'm reformed. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. And think twice about, throwing. No, I don't throw them in the trash. If they're like stains and not, quality, then they get discarded, used for rags. Super sketchy. They don't want people finding out about the truth. We spicy up here, I can tell you Mondays, am I right? backing into a suspect with no evidence makes all sense. And this is exactly what I was thinking. They had to blame it on someone. They needed a fall guy, a front guy. They needed people to have confidence and come back to school. And, that brings me to my live that I'm going to do later on today. Who actually moved out of state? I mean, if you start looking at everyone who was hanging with that friend group that we talked about in the past, who yeah, that's what I thought too, Les, who was actually apart from that friend group? Some people fell apart, some people stopped talking together, some people moved out of state, and that's where that's where you start questioning. Caleb, your old clothes has your DNA on it. Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. I mean, you do have a very valid point. You have a very, very valid point. If your clothes have your DNA and you are giving it away, and let's just say you go and buy clothes from Goodwill and someone creates a crime, does that leave your DNA on those clothes and at the crime scene? I don't know. I'd have to look into that, but that would be really weird. That would be kind of weird. Oh, I see, that's weird because on JPay, I had sent an email before and then the option disappeared. I had an account from my mom when she was in her vacation home, aka prison. I just looked this morning. Burn your clothes, says Amanda. That might be the safest bet. Oh, burn your clothes. Yeah. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. So here's the deal, guys. I'd have to look around. Your clothes definitely has your DNA on it. I don't know. Does washing your clothes? Let me just see. Let me see. Hold on. Does washing your clothes lessen your DNA? Your own DNA. Let me see. Good question. Washing your clothes does not remove all of your DNA, but it can significantly reduce how much of your DNA and other biological material like skin cells, sweat, and hair remains in the fabric. Let's break it down. What happens when you wash your clothes? Mechanical action, agitation, the movement of the washer, and physical dislodges skin cells, hair, and body oils that carry DNA. The detergent and water help dissolve organic material. However, ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one, Caleb. However, DNA material is a fairly stable molecule. Some traces can survive even multiple washes. Hot water and drying can break down DNA strands, making them harder but not always impossible to detect. After one wash, most surface DNA is washed away, but traces remain, especially in the seams, the waistbands, cuffs, or areas with body fluid like blood or saliva. Which brings me to the portion of, we can talk more about the foot thing, but I still wonder whose foot that actually is, the foot imprint. And that might be something that, private DNA testing can be done if they still have, the digital prints, the samples. And I don't know if it included the 4 suspects that they said that were alternative perpetrators, which is very interesting. But since we're talking about clothes and DNA and this and that, let's talk about this freaking infamous jacket that was found in Dylan's belongings. Was that her jacket? We don't know. Her mom even says that doesn't look like anything that Dylan would wear. So whose jacket could possibly be that was in the spare room that Anne thought it was Dylan's, that someone said specifically had to have, in my humble opinion, they had to have pointed out that this was factually seen. Someone was seen wearing this type of jacket. Okay, we're talking about the jacket with the that looks, obviously the infamous Blue Star jacket that they sprayed with Blue Star. After the detective was told to go gather that information, gather that evidence, did he single-handedly destroy that evidence? Was that jacket washed? I mean, you spray Blue Star on it, and they say that once you spray that on there, it's pretty much ruined. He got a positive test for blood. So, of that much blood on this jacket, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, say yes if you think that there was quite a bit of blood on this jacket. I know many of you have seen the jacket right side out. And she handled the same footprint. This girl that did the jacket did the same testing on this footprint. So let me grab the actual jacket. This jacket haunts my dreams. That jacket be looking sus. I agree. Okay, so let me pull up this pic. Where is it? Okay, where are you at? Jacket. Miscellaneous jacket. What page was it on? I had a picture of it inside out. Hold on. In case I can't find it, I know you guys have seen that huge stain on the jacket. I mean, freaking huge stain. So, if this jacket was already washed, they would have been able to test it, as I'm reading this in this forensic forum. This jacket could have been tested, y'all, for DNA. But the minute Blue Star was sprayed on it, what I've read and I understand, and what the expert was saying inside of these documents, once the Blue Star is actually sprayed, it doesn't produce any likely DNA. That's the way I understood it. I don't know how you guys understood it. Is that right? DG is carrying something with that strap vacuum. You gotta zoom in and see it. I don't know what it is. Accidentally, yeah. Okay. Who? I mean, this guy is an expert, right? And his name is all over these reports everywhere. It looks more like vomit. Well, now, you have to understand the process. They box this stuff up out of saying that it's Dylan's stuff, okay? But yet it was labeled something like spare room. And then Ann Taylor in 2024 asked for this specific jacket, the pink and green jacket. She specifically asked for this jacket. They go in, and they basically say, okay, go grab this jacket. We're going to get a warrant for these things. And then this detective goes and gets this jacket and sprays Blue Star all over it. Now, in his response, it said that it presumptively tested positive for blood. That's why, exactly, this is the problem. He should have just taken a little bit, a little area, and then swashed it. This is exactly right. Now, I don't think this guy is a rookie, in my humble opinion. I don't think he's a rookie. But my humble opinion, allegedly, he sprayed this jacket down to get rid of evidence. I mean, that is just like Moscow Department trampling all over the freaking crime scene with no booties and no gloves. I think, in my humble opinion, they already knew what happened. They already knew. They already knew. Absolutely. Let me grab that video. I've showed this before. I've showed the Blue Star Chemical video before. Let me grab it. And this explains really well how Blue Star works. I think I did the one with the carpet, right? Let me see if I've got that one still in here. Hold on. Blue Star Chemical. Here we go. I think I've shown this one before. So I use this one. Let me put this up here. Let me take this down. Let me add that. Hold on. Okay. This is what happens with Blue Star.
In one of my last videos, I showed you how you can use Blue Star or luminol to find blood that's been cleaned up. And a lot of people commented about whether or not you could use hydrogen peroxide to clean the blood. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to clean with hydrogen peroxide.
Wrong video. Hold on one second for me. This guy, here it is. This is the carpet.
So we're going to look at how to find blood stains after they've been cleaned up. So I have some blood here, and I'm going to do some bloodletting on my carpet, and I'm going to rub that in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean our blood stain. I'm going to mix the Blue Star with 4 ounces of water. Blue Star comes with 2 pills. I'm going to put 1 of each and mix those up. I have it all mixed up. Now we're just going to spray our stain with our Blue Star. Let's turn the lights off and see what we find. The Blue Star interacts with the blood, causing the chemical luminescence, and that's how we find blood at crime scenes. So we're going to look at how to find blood stains after they've been cleaned up. So I have some blood here, and I'm going to do some bloodletting on my carpet, and I'm going to rub that in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean our blood stain. I'm going to mix the Blue Star with 4 ounces of water. Blue Star comes with 2 pills. I'm going to put 1.
Okay, so yeah, it's Mickey Mouse. He put it in fast. Let's finish watching this again.
1 of each and mix those up. I have it all mixed up. Now we're just going to spray our stain with our Blue Star. Let's turn the lights off and see what we find. The Blue Star interacts with the blood, causing the chemical luminescence, and that's how we find blood at crime scenes.
Okay, so yes, that's a great question, Caleb. Yes. So in these forensic reports, the detective said that he sprayed it with Blue Star, and yes, it tested presumptive for blood. So at that point, they email the lab manager, and they basically said, no, think about this. You cannot go back and undo what you've done. The DNA is basically ruined at that point. Now, had they test just a little patch of it, then sure, they probably would have been able to get the DNA off the fibers. Just like we were talking about what happens when you wash clothes. Well, it looks like maybe this jacket was washed and on the inside it looked a little moldy. But the process is you use Blue Star last, okay? You use Blue Star last. That is what the forensic document said. In the documents that I've shared, it basically says that this is the last go-to to test. So they could have cut pieces off of it just like they did Kohberger's pillowcase, Kohberger's bed cover, things of that nature. Just cut a piece of it off and then test it that way. But they didn't. He didn't. This detective didn't. So that's what my point was, is that, you know, even though that's the last one, that's the last step, they could have extracted the DNA to see whose blood was on this jacket. Because like I said before, this blood was all over the inside of the jacket. And had it been sitting in a closet or sitting in a, box or whatever, it looks to me like this had quite a few something spilt on it, or possibly, obviously, since it did test blood, where did all this blood come from? Now, I know a lot of people out there were saying, oh, they're girls, blood comes from, the women things and this and that. No, this is a large amount of blood. Why would you stick a jacket like this in a closet with that amount of blood? Whose blood was it? And the location of the blood doesn't make sense to me, in my humble opinion. Now, the spot looks like someone threw up. The stain is right under the face spot. Okay, so let me just throw a little logic in there. If you're drunk and you throw up and it's right underneath that spot, tell me, do you wake up the next day after being a little bit of sober, and do you wash your clothes that you threw up in? Or do you just let them sit in a box in a closet or shoved back behind somewhere? I mean, logic tells me I would probably wash my clothes, right? If they had throw up on them. And clean up whatever was there from the night before. And that is typically what somebody would, do, essentially. Hopefully, if they didn't like the jacket, they would have threw it away. But that jacket seems to have a lot of blood on it and in it. Now, the point that I want to make is that jacket didn't look like there were any holes in it, so we know that this was probably not a victim's jacket. Okay? But if someone went to go pick up someone by the shoulders and they had perhaps a couple of stab wounds in their head and they were bleeding, you would probably pick them up and carry them right in that spot, in my humble opinion. This is all speculation. We're just talking about this jacket and how blood could have got in that spot. Look at the arrows in the spots that were left in this jacket. Now, this is after Blue Star had been applied. They sent the jacket forward and they tested it and found none on this jacket. Now, if it was me and this was someone's jacket, I put a challenge out there a long time ago, someone has had to have seen this jacket worn by someone at that school. Who possibly owned this jacket? And if Jenna McClure was in the middle of moving in her stuff, Was there any way that maybe some of these things could have possibly been hers? I mean, I'm just saying, is it more than likely or less than likely to be one of their friends? I would have thrown the jacket away. Yeah, I would have thrown the jacket away too if, in fact, that it was throw up and I washed it. And because throw up is so hard to get out, guys. I mean, I remember when the kids would be sick and throw up on their sheet, and I'd be like, damn, we're throwing this sheet away. We are not keeping this sheet. You know, especially little kids. And they're okay, so typically there would hopefully be some type of DNA left on this jacket. But like I said, after one wash, most surface DNA is washed away. Traces do remain, especially in the seams, the waistbands, the cuffs, areas with body fluid. I'm no expert, but body fluid and saliva would still be on there. After multiple washes, it's said in this forensic book the DNA yield becomes so low that the standard forensic STR testing may fail or only show particle profiles. And they basically noted on this that they would send it out, but somebody else does that portion of it. And forensic labs can sometimes recover really low level or degraded DNA from washed items, but it's more difficult and less reliable. So it would give you probably a lower ability to get a partial profile or a failure. So washing clothes doesn't really erase your DNA completely. It lessens and degrades over time. And it's might not be enough for recovery. So I think that was the last option, was to spray Blue Star on it, but he should have just took a swatch and sprayed it. And that's another way that I think that this freaking Blue Star spraying all over the evidence, just like this footprint on a metal table, would have given us, if in fact, who was this? Who was the footprint? Who belonged to this footprint, right? I mean, when you think about it, in this reporting in the DNA, the forensics that they've given us, there's still no conclusive evidence, except for mostly throughout this forensic document, that Brian Kohberger is still factually innocent. And the cake analogy that I used to take his DNA to say his DNA was in certain places is still questionable. What size footprint is it? I don't know. They did not specify the size. They didn't specify the actual. There is a picture. They do have a picture of that footprint. And it was benchmarked against Xana's, and it was not Xana's. I have to run. Please hit the like button for Phoenix. She works hard and barely sleeps. I do sleep well. I actually slept really well last night. And walk, don't run. We don't want you to get hurt. Absolutely. So what do you think? What do you think? What do you think of this report of the footprint? When I shared that with you, I was like, geez, you gotta be kidding me. What do you all think about that footprint? Is that something that would make you go, obviously there were other perpetrators. Why didn't they determine? Yeah, why didn't they determine that someone's footprint was actually there in Xana's room, and they could have had the answer? They could have found whose footprint it is. What makes you think that they just, like, I mean, we're talking about highly trained professionals, guys. It's not like some of these cops were on the force or some of these detectives just started their day job, right? They've been in the force doing this work for quite some time. If you look at their resumes, they've been doing this for a while. They know what they're doing. So a rookie mistake, I mean, a rookie mistake like this, it just blows my mind. Now keep in mind that this print, it had to been a barefoot print. It had to be a barefoot print. It wasn't somebody with socks on. It, they didn't benchmark it against Ethan. They didn't say they did or not. But whose footprint was it? That should leave you enough questioning the narrative that we've been given. That and a few other things that we have brought to you. I mean, if you think about just this footprint issue, well, what about the DNA? What about the knife sheath? What about the combined, other things that were in the house? Removing, so much from the house, especially things that could have been linked to the perpetrators. So keep that in mind today when I bring you part 2 later on this afternoon. We are going to have some amazing information for you. Because if you think that the footprint was ignored and overlooked, wait till you see what else that I have found in these forensic documents that will blow your mind and have you thinking, what the frick did we just watch? So do me one big favor. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, do that now. And when I leave, make sure that you do hit some love buttons for our mods and for the stream. And let me just look at a couple of chats real quick. Either this is a cover up or a psyop, and we are all being studied. Holly Berry, I believe this is a true cover up, and in anything that, if it doesn't sell if it bleeds. That's the whole thing about the media. If it doesn't bleed, it doesn't sell. And they take something and they basically turn it into something else. Never let a good story go to waste. That's the motto. Seems like they were all trying to appear as if they weren't destroying evidence. I don't know, you guys, I watched Lana's video, and it drop a 1 if you guys watch Lana's video. She got the Moscow Police Department body cam, and I'm going to show you just a little snippet of it. Okay. Let me see. Hold on. She just streamed it the other night. Where did it go? Here we go. Body cam. Here we go. So at 5 p.m. per the document, MPD, 5 p.m. Okay, let me just share this with you and then we'll get running. At 5 p.m. per the MPT document, okay, I just want to shout out to Lana for this video. She sure stays on top of those FOIAs, I'll tell you. Now, I've got a few coming in. I can't wait to get them. Now, Payne and Snyder do not have any booties at all on. They don't have any gloves, just like Gunderson. No one else, right? They walked, touched over it. I believe, in my humble opinion, they went through this crime scene to contaminate it. I believe at this point they already knew what they had on their hands and they had to save face with the university. Watch, none of them, and the time is exactly 5 o'clock. The document The document is accurate. Now keep in mind, there is a portion in here when Ashley Jennings comes up and then they say that Bill Thompson is there. Now, I want to just preface this. Payne has his phone, and if anyone that has FaceTime, you know that you can FaceTime someone and put it on the phone. And these cops, they use technology like that. They could walk through the scene and say, Bill Thompson and I walk through the scene of the crime. But Bill Thompson could be appearing by screen, just like in a lot of, cases in court, they're doing by Zoom. They can just pull up the screen and then show them. So he doesn't specify how they attended, but he says BT attended.
Officer Smith, now watch. Talbot is right in front of us.
Now this is Talbot. This is Talbot who is writing all these reports and asking for more evidence, forensic evidence to be tested. He is the one writing the reports. So he puts on his little booties, puts on his gloves, and he's walking through the scene. He's in charge of this scene right now because he has waited for the specific warrants to be able to get into that crime scene. Moscow Police Department has been walking through the scene all day long, okay? So I can understand doing a walkthrough once, but there are other people in this house. Talbot walks up, puts on his gloves.
Us directly in the middle. Officer Smith's the first one over here to the right, and there's Payne.
Oh, the beholder broken.
3 coming in.
Yeah, they sure did. Okay, so that was just an example. Shout out to Lena. Thank you for that. And you guys can go over and watch her. But keep in mind, I believe, in my humble opinion, they trampled through that crime scene. They did everything they possibly could to make sure there was very little evidence, in my humble opinion. So, on the way out, real quick, definitely hit the thumbs up. Make sure that you drop the love for the mods and myself. And we will see you back here at 3:45, which is 2:45 Pacific Standard Time. Whatever time zone you're in, convert it, add an hour. If you're in Central Time, that's 5. If you're East, that's 6. So we'll see you back here at 2:45 Pacific Standard Time. Be well, everyone.
Listen close, we rise up from the ashes, digging for the truth, breaking old habits. We marching with the nesters, they laid the foundation, passed down revelation. Sparked our motivation, and the truth is the weapon that cuts through all the fakers. Phonets in our chest, reborn from deception. Eyes wide open, no room for misdirection. Every step we take, we honor the connection between past and present, forging our resurrection. Lies that they feed, we reclaim our beliefs. Thinking differently, we'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. We cultivate vision, planting seeds of awareness. Challenge the narrative, break out of the harness. Digging deep for knowledge, unearthing the hidden. Our minds are the soil where the future is written. No longer confined by the scripts they prescribe. We write our own story, let the real one subscribe. One voice becomes many, together we rally. Freedom's not a concept, it's a move and a tally. Case by case, we break the cage. Dog by dog, we shift the stage. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently. We'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case. Again. Again. Rise up, speak out, watch the new world breathe.